Good evening. My name's Alicia Hansen, and I'm just going to be answering a few questions. So, the first question is, what are your strengths? My strengths for the position of the general management or management position would be one, I'm a good leader. I am willing to be accommodating. I listen. I'm able to be coached. And what I mean by coached is feedback, whether it's negative or it's positive. I'm able to listen to it and I'm able to apply it moving forward. Not only am I able to be a good leader, but I'm also able to be a good team member as well. So not only do I work well by myself and teaching and leading others, but at the same time, I'm able to kind of fall back and take direction and listen to someone who's leading the team that I'm in. Now, the next question that follows is, how have I helped another person reach their goals? Well, one thing I can say is, and I'm very proud of this, it's an accomplishment that I think really defined me, is that when I was younger, I was a Pop Warner cheerleader. I went through the entire program and became an all-star cheerleader. In turn, once I finally graduated high school, I decided I wanted to give back. And so I decided to become a Pop Warner coach. And I coached a team of 9, 10, and 11-year-olds, girls, in cheerleading because I felt that I did the program. It's an interscholastic nonprofit organization. And I went through the program and it kept me out of school and it gave me something. It gave me a purpose. And so I found that in coaching, I was able to take these girls and make them part of a team, help them with school, help them with everyday life, whether it's they had a question because so and so said something to them in school. I was able to be there. I was able to be their mentor, more so like a big sister. And I was able to take that group of girls, develop them into a team, build the relationships, keep them off the streets, and end up taking us all the way to the national competition where we placed 5th in the nation. And to me, that was showing that I could reach the goals, that there was something that I had done. It was doing well in school, being, a valid member of the community, and I was able to shape these little girls' lives and give them the same opportunities that I did. Now, when did I make a positive change in a company? That was actually recently. So when I started going to school, I was part of Citizens Bank. And I was there for about 2.5 years. And I decided that it wasn't the right fit for me. So more recently, I was offered a position at Bank of America where my skills that I had learned from Citizens Bank were valuable, and actually I was valued. And Bank of America said, "We want you." And my knowledge and my skill set, was able to, come to Bank of America, where I'm actually going to be part of a pilot program where they're going to take the call center employees and they're going to put them in a financial center or a branch. So I felt that that was a positive change, that I'm going to be part of this new pilot program at Bank of America just because of my skills that I had from Citizens Bank. Now, the next question says, tell about a time when I was a team player. Well, there was a time. I mean, again, like I stated before, I was a cheerleader, so I was always part of a team. But I have to say the one moment in my life that I could say was a team player was when I was with my cabinet, part of a nonprofit organization called Skills USA. Now, Skills USA is pretty much business and industry representatives coming together with our schools to make sure that America has a skilled workforce. And what that is that's career and technical education. And I was the post-secondary college state president. So here in Rhode Island, I was in charge of all of the career and technical colleges like Johnson and Wales, New England Tech, the Community College of Rhode Island. I got to oversee all of that and work with my team of state officers and not only oversee and make sure that the day-to-day was running smoothly with all the colleges, but I was able to mold the high school state president, the high school vice president for Skills USA, and have them have successful, careers in doing the leadership that they had. And I was able to go to the Collegiate Leadership of Rhode Island. I was able to go to the national competition where I had to go and sit in the cabinet and actually sit and have the nationwide meetings and work together with my cabinet, which was my vice president, my parliamentarian, my treasurer. And we were able to work together and ensure that the vote that we had mattered. And I felt like that put a huge part. And I also got to work with my team to go to Washington, D.C. to advocate for the Carl D. Perkins Act, which was to advocate for career and technical funding for career and technical education schools here back in Rhode Island, and got to speak to our state representatives. So I felt like that was a time where I was able to act as a team player. Now, the next question says, tell about a time when I made a mistake. This question kind of goes both ways. And what I mean by that is I don't consider things that I do, say, at work a mistake. I consider them a coaching and a learning opportunity. So I guess I would restate the question and say, tell about a time where I needed a little help and I needed a little extra coaching. And I can say that was a time when I had a customer and I misread what he was talking about by my active listening skills. And what I mean by that is just those cues in the background of the phone call that I had. He did have children. I should have proactively been more engaged. I should have listened to the customer at that point in time. And I should have been a better active listener. However, I learned from it. And my calls from that point forward I was very careful with them. And so I don't want to consider it a mistake that I made as a coaching and a learning opportunity, that I didn't do something the way I should have. However, I learned from my mistake or this opportunity that I had and improved on it in time, after being further. Now, the next question says, tell me about a time I dealt with a conflict at work. Well, like I stated before, I work in a call center. So at any given point in any given day, there is a conflict because I work at a bank. And the reason you call into a bank is because you have an issue. You have a problem. And I can remember there was one time where I had a sweet customer. She had called in because she wasn't her statement wasn't right. And what I mean by that is it said at one point that she earned 45 cents in interest, but she only got 42 cents. And there was a 2 cents discrepancy. And upon my initial, investigation and my initial research, I couldn't find anything. So I said to the customer, I do apologize. I am working diligently. And the customer got a little bit upset and a little bit frustrated and a little bit angry and started yelling and upset because it was her money and she needed it. And I kept my cool and I said, Miss Customer, I do apologize. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to research this further. I'm going to reach out to a couple of other departments of mine to find out what's going on and why there is this discrepancy between what you earned in interest and what you were getting paid. It took about a day or so, and upon my research, I found that the physical year of when her statement was cut to when the interest was paid out in her account, there needed to be an adjustment made, and that's where she lost the 2 cents. At the end of the day, I called the customer back. I explained what was going on, and then I told the customer that I was going to be rebating her that 2 cents for the inconvenience, and that I did apologize, and that if there was anything else she needed, that she could always give me a call back, and I gave her my name, and I gave her my department. So, again, that's just one of the many conflicts, I guess you could say, that I had at work. I mean, there were times where I would have customers calling in because of a balance discrepancy or overdraft fees. And then at that point, I would just go over the options that the customer had for our services and solutions that would better fit their needs so that they could avoid that in the future. And lastly, it's one of actually my favorite questions. It says, the first part says, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So in 5 years from now, I see myself moving forward and moving upwards in my company. So right now I work as in Bank of America as a preferred client specialist. And what I'm looking for is within the next few years to becoming in a management position, becoming, in the HR benefits section. Having a home is another one of my goals. In 10 years, I see myself still working at Bank of America and making it my career, especially in the management field. What I really want to do is become a trainer and actually get to train, new coming and new hires in, using the knowledge that I have and just giving back. I don't see that it's an end point for me. So 5 years, 10 years, even 20 years, I want to see myself staying with this company and making this my career and retiring from it. Because management and leadership is something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that means a lot to me. So to start out small and say 5 years, I see myself at Bank of America. I see myself working towards that management position. And whether it takes me 3 years, it takes me 5 years, I want to accomplish it by at least 5 years. And by 10 years, I still want to be with that company, but be in a position to where I'm happy and I know that I can make the most difference. I do appreciate this time, and I hope that you have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for this opportunity.